Hi, this is Ed Rushman with Whitestone Journal talking about compatibilism. This is essentially the idea that you can have free will and yet still have determinism, that those two are compatible. I'm oversimplifying, but you can go back and do your own research. There's the problem that, on the one hand, people don't want the responsibility that goes with free will, and they'd like to deny the existence of anything beyond the physical world, and they don't want to believe that anyway because, it's out of fashion certainly to believe in God or pray or anything. And there's some spiritual element involved in what is free will. And of course people then say, well, it's not defined. Free will, quite simply, is the ability to make a choice. Now, some people say, well, there can't be free will because some people have had such horrible experiences in their life that, let's say, something that caused them not to trust people, some violent event or something, so they really can't trust people, so they don't have the freedom to make a choice. They do have the freedom to make other choices, though. That doesn't mean that everything in their life is completely determined, and I mean that in the full sense of the word, completely determined by that. Issues of trust, yes, they can be affected. It might be overwhelming. It might be too much for them to handle. But not everything in life is about trusting people. If they go someplace and they get food, and out of a vending machine, the trust issues we might assume are similar, at least, for all the goods in the vending machine. It seems a little silly to say that because of their trust issues, that they'll pick A3 over B7 strictly because of their trust issues and they have no choice. No, they still have a choice. The other thing is that presupposes that people that have had horrendous events never learn to deal with it. Never actually, a person that doesn't trust people because of something that happened never learns to trust people in some circumstances, and we know that's not true. People are not slaves to the past. They're not slaves really to anything that they don't allow themselves to be slaves to. Now, it doesn't mean that it happens quickly, but if a person ever makes a choice, a real choice, an act of the will, ever in their life, then free will exists. And if we're going to deny that free will exists, then we have to deny that anybody ever makes a free choice. So the problem for people that believe that free will doesn't exist is that they also want to believe they make choices. They don't want the responsibility of a choice, but they want the pride of a choice. They want to believe that they actually got to make a choice when it's a good one. If it's a bad one, then it was somebody else's fault. But if they make a good choice, or one that they're happy about, they want to be able to say that they did it. The perfect example of this is for people that are atheists, because they can't really believe in free will. They have to rename it something else or call it compatibilism. But because if they don't believe in anything spiritual, and I'm told that some atheists believe there's a spiritual world, but that there's no God, and okay, then that would still technically be atheism. I haven't met anybody like this in person, but I've been told, I've been corrected that these exist, and I'll just accept that they exist. So in that case, the problem is that if there's determinism, if they don't really have free will, then being an atheist is pointless, because it's not a choice. It's not something they worked out, but they want the pride of being able to say, I'm smarter than you because I know no God exists. And they want the responsibility for that. But if there's nothing spiritual, and again, leaving out the case where the middle position there, if they really believe that no God exists, that there's nothing outside this physical world, then how can they take any pride in that? They didn't get to choose it. It's pure determinism. It's just their DNA plus the movement of a bunch of electrons in various places caused them to be an atheist. But they want the pride. And so this is a typical thing. It's not just atheists. The people that don't believe in free will have a problem because they want to believe it's their choice to believe there's no free will. Well, that creates a problem. So compatibilism is apparently the answer to that somehow no one really has a choice, but yes, people really have a choice. And that when I want to, I can say I exercise my free will, but even though there's no free will. I mean, it's really I think it makes about as much sense as it sounds like. You're welcome to leave a response. Rant on, it's okay. And I will answer as best as I can. Driving is probably not the best way to do this, but this is when I have time to talk, and so I do these crazy things. You look at some of the other crazy rantings that I do. Enjoy, I hope, or at least maybe it makes you think. In the process of forming a response and disagreeing, sometimes it brings new thoughts, and I'm definitely in favor of the marketplace of ideas. Leave a comment. Ed Rushman, Whitestone Journal.